Reach into your pocket. The coins, the card, the worn paper you find there feel like the floor of human life, the basic layer under everything else. Buying, selling, owing, earning. It is almost impossible to picture a person without it. But money, the thing itself, is younger than the wheel, younger than writing, younger than beer. For almost the entire human story, people met, traded, helped, and owed one another, and not a single coin ever changed hands. And the reason is far stranger than the one you were taught. You already know the story, because everyone is taught it. Long ago, people bartered. You had chickens, your neighbor had shoes, so you swapped. But barter was clumsy. What if the shoemaker did not want chickens that day? So the story goes, clever humans invented money to fix the problem. One thing everyone would accept, and the modern world was born. It is a tidy story. It is in the textbooks.
And as far as anyone can tell, it never happened.
Anthropologists went looking for that barter world, the one that supposedly came before money. They searched every society they could find that lived without coins on every continent. They never found it. No tribe, no village, no ancient people standing around trading chickens for shoes and wishing they had cash. The barter age is a guess that slowly hardened into a fact. What people actually did was something else entirely, and it was running quietly inside every one of us long before the first coin was struck. For most of history, you did not pay your neighbor, you simply remembered. If the hunter brought down a deer, he did not sell the meat, he shared it, and everyone ate. Not because he was a saint, but because next week his spear would miss, and someone else's would not, and he would need them to remember that he had given first. The whole village ran on a vast, invisible web of who had done what for whom. Nobody wrote it down. Nobody had to. The web lived in everyone's head at once. This is the thing we have almost forgotten how to feel. You were never even, and you were never meant to be. If your neighbor helped you raise a roof, you did not hand him a fair pile of goods and call it settled. You owed him. And he liked that you owed him, because that thread of debt was exactly what tied the two of you together. To pay him back perfectly, to make it so that neither of you owed the other anything, would have been a quiet insult. It would have meant you wanted nothing more to do with him. So the first money was not a coin. It was a memory, a favor remembered, a debt carried in the mind, sometimes for years, passed along, traded, forgiven. You could owe a man a day of work, and he could tell his brother, "Now you owe my brother instead." People paid in obligations long before they paid in objects. Credit did not come after money. Credit came first, by tens of thousands of years. When the debts finally did get written down, it was not on coins, it was on clay. About 5,000 years ago, in the cities of Mesopotamia, people began pressing marks into wet tablets to keep track of what was owed. So much barley, so much silver, owed by this person to that temple by this season. And here's the strange part. Most of that silver never moved. It sat in a storeroom while the debts flew around above it, on paper, person to person. The first money in human history was not something you held. It was a number in an account. Money began as bookkeeping. So if people already had memory and gifts and debts and clay tablets, why was the coin ever invented at all? Follow the strangers. Follow the soldiers. The web of who owes whom only works among people who know each other and will see each other again. It is useless the moment you face someone you will never meet twice. And nothing in the ancient world produced more of those people than an army. A soldier marching through a foreign land has no reputation there. The locals do not trust him and never will. He cannot say, "I will get you back next harvest," because tomorrow he is gone. He needs to hand over a thing right now that the stranger can take and use with the next stranger down the road. That thing was the coin. Small, hard, the same everywhere, holding its worth in the hand of a man you will never see again. Some of the earliest coins we know of, struck around 2,600 years ago, spread fastest exactly where armies and empires needed to pay troops and collect taxes from people they did not know. Money, in other words, was not invented to make friendly trade easier. It was invented for dealing with people you could not trust. Coins are what you use with the stranger and the enemy. Among your own, you still used your word. And once that little metal disc existed, it did something quiet and enormous. It made everything countable. A favor is fuzzy. You can never say exactly what a favor is worth, and that vagueness is what keeps people bound to each other. But a coin is precise. 3 coins is 3 coins. With money, a debt could finally be measured to the last unit, paid in full, and ended. For the first time, 2 people could be truly, completely even. You could settle up, and then you could walk away. That is the part worth sitting with. For 300,000 years, you could never fully repay the people around you, and that was not a flaw. It was the glue.
The endless, unfinished, slightly unequal web of owing was the thing that made a group of humans into something that would not let you starve. Money handed us something our ancestors never had, a way to owe nothing, a way to be free of each other. We tend to see that as pure progress, and in 1,000 ways it is. You can buy bread from a stranger and owe him nothing by sundown. You can live among millions of people you will never know. None of that works without the coin. But it is worth remembering what we set down to pick it up. We turned a web of people who needed each other into a row of accounts that could each be closed. We made it possible to be paid in full and to therefore need no one. The coin was a remarkable invention. We are still finding out what it replaced.